Hi, my name is Debquist, and for my exhibition, I decided to call it Inside the Mind of the Female Artist. So I am not the most artistic person, and I I don't really look at art outside of this class or if I happen to see it on social media. But in this class, I think I've liked the art created by women, and I feel like that's because I think that the gender frequently views social problems and gender issues through a more realistic but optimistic light. They recognize there's a problem in our society, but they try to find a good way to find a solution or to look at it better. Um, and I feel like women's art is more deeply felt and individual. They seem to be able to respectfully and classily address subjects like politics, racism, feminism, sexual assault. And for this project, I carefully chose some artists, and I made the decision to feature the works of Argivan Khosravi, Anna Mendita, Micheline Thomas, Kiki Smith, and Marina Ambrorovi. And I selected these women because I was deeply moved by their work. They like to discuss femininity, fragility, racism, the human body, and gender. This exhibition aims to shed light on the femininity and self-presentation of women, as well as on how they might overcome the objectivity of their own selves, the conflict between their emotions, and the uniqueness and fragility of the female body. And this is what it's like to be inside the mind of a female artist. So this is my floor pan, not the best. But on the first wall, I have Argivan Khosravi, Anna Mendita. Second wall, I have Micheline Thomas and Kiki Smith. And third wall, I have Marina Ambrorovi, because her piece that I used has several different pieces within it, so I gave her her own wall. So for the first artist, we're going to start with Khosravi. She's relatively new. She is growing in popularity and relativity, and she likes to incorporate Persian textiles and methods as well as Iranian influences. Her preferred medium is acrylic, and she favors a data-influenced surrealist aesthetic. Her paintings often have a narrative with themes of political injustice, women's rights, and inner feelings. Her piece Suspension was painted in 2020 using cement and acrylic on cotton canvas that was wrapped around a piece of wood. Suspension comes together easily thanks to its fluid hues, sharp edges, and simple lines. The female body is shown in the picture in a delicate manner with no hint of sexuality. Despite the tension going around all of these women, or both of these women, they both appear calm. And the two women are also very good symbols of the woman is not the threat nor the victim. Second artist is Anna Mendita. She's Cuban born. She's actually passed, so she's no longer with us. She's very well known for her body, land, and earth art. Has deep cultural links in a lot of her art. Very outspoken on politics, didn't shy away from speaking what she thought and doing what she thought was right. Women's rights and racial stereotypes were a lot of her focus. She used a lot of unconventional methods, going as far to even use blood as a medium. In her piece, the Amategrams, which was created in the early 1980s, is actually paintings on top of amate, which is a type of Mexican bark paper. In this piece, she shows a positive relationship with the female body, which is what the 8 objects on the painting stand for. They're all differently shaped, which is an analogy for that the body of the woman does not look the same on everybody. Everybody looks different. It's something that you can't change, or you can't help that you look different from someone else, something like that. And I think it just shows a lot of difference and uniqueness in the human body of the woman specifically. The second artist that we have is Micheline Thomas, or third artist. Sorry. She's a person of color, and she likes to incorporate sexuality, race, beauty, and gender using vivid portraits and collage-like paintings. She calls attention to certain details of her pieces with using rhinestones, and like these aspects of the painting, like hair and shoes, is what she usually uses them for. She also likes to talk about how popular culture and the depiction of women within society and stuff can affect our own understanding of femininity. So, like, two people can look at the same thing but have a different thought because of the way that society projects it. And I think that's pretty interesting. But in her painting, The Three Graces, three black women are seen in this fragmentary picture. They all have 70s outfits on, which I actually really like. I love the 70s. And they actually the three women represent the three graces from Greek mythology, and they stand for charisma, beauty, and inventiveness. A lot of Cubist techniques with Thomas and Greco-Roman practice of fresco painting. The fourth artist that we have is Keith Smith. Huge body artist, loves to do anything related to the human body, even animal bodies too. But for this exhibition, I chose the human body. Natural environment's a big thing for her too. Consistently adds to and develops a body of work that consists of sculpture, printmaking, photography, drawing, and textiles. Smith has been featured in more than 25 museum exhibitions and numerous solo shows across the globe. In this art piece, it's called Ribs. I chose this very specifically. It's a rib cage made out of terracotta, which is fragile, very fragile. And it's tied together by string, and then it's marionetted to the wall, and it can sway because the way that it's put on the wall, it sways. And I think this really shows how fragile the human body can be. And the reason why I included it in like the human body, like the woman human body, is because if you look closely in the pictures, you can't really see it in this because it's a blurry picture, but there's cracks in the ribs that show evidence of trauma. And, you know, when you think of trauma in like abuse, you usually think of domestic violence, and you usually think of women. And I think that this can also be taken as women are fragile, but we can build ourselves up to be whole again. We might have cracks, but we can be whole again, but we're still fragile. And I think that's pretty cool. Last artist that I have is Marina Ambrovi, and huge performance artist. I think she's really good at all of her art pieces. I've seen a lot of them in social media on like TikTok and Instagram. But she is a Serbian native. She's been working for 50 years, and one of the longest, I think the longest career out of these artists on my exhibition. But she received the Golden Lion Award for Best Artist in 1997 for another one of her performance pieces. And the pieces that I chose for this exhibition are the Rhythm series, and they actually show the conflicts between abandonment and control. So we see abandonment in Rhythm 5, where she puts herself, Rhythm 5, sorry. She puts herself in the center of a burning star, and this resembles abandonment because she doesn't want to leave something even though she's being hurt by it. And this actually caused her to go unconscious from the fire exhaustion, and people had to like bring her out of the star. The one below, graphic image, sorry, I don't like knives. This is Rhythm 5, and this is Control. She is shown, well, it's more of like a visual thing, but she cuts herself 20 times by inserting a knife between the spread fingers of one hand. She then records the action and then plays the sound back. And then she does it all again to try and match the sound of the previous recording, to try and control the outcome of the piece. And I think the way she shows emotions through her pieces. There's one piece where she actually sat across from somebody and like you can just see the emotion on her face. She starts crying and stuff. I think that's pretty cool. But this was my exhibition, and I hope y'all enjoyed it. And this is what it's like to be inside the mind of a female artist.